Hello and welcome, my dear friends. It is time to gather. It is time to learn together. I'm very excited that we are here and that we are going to support each other in our learning by coming together. So that's what this is all about. By making these videos, by reaching out to you all, is to offer an opportunity to have a platform where we can gather and where we can all support each other in our personal growth, okay? And each time I have a different subject matter, I have a different topic that I would like to explore with you and to go a little bit deeper and give you some experience that you might not have had before. Ultimately, what I'm here to do is to share resources with you, to share information with you, and simply to give you a new perspective, give you a different way of thinking that you might have not had before. And that to me is very exciting. So thank you for being here and welcome. Thank you for joining us. There are going to be some people who are joining us live, and a lot of you are also going to watch it afterwards, and also especially on YouTube. So hello everybody on YouTube. I'm super excited about that platform as well. And you can find me there under Quantum NLP, okay? So you guys, let's dive right into it because we have a lot of material to cover like always, because we are going to talk about change. And change is actually one of the topics that I've loved for a long time because that is one of the things that got me into NLP in the first place in the mid 90s, when I realized that change is going to be a constant part of life and that the more I learn to navigate change easily with joy and with an attitude of expectancy and happiness and change is good attitude, that I will have a very different time than if I'm going to go through the change kicking and screaming. And change is going to happen from the moment that you're born all the way through your childhood into adulthood and then to your older age and until you finally leave this planet again. So it is part of life. So the more resilient we are, the more we are able to bounce back and deal with change ecologically, effectively, the easier it is for us and everybody else involved. So keep that in mind, that it's not just about yourself, this is also about the contribution that you can actually make to others as well. All right, you friends. So we are here to have fun. We are here to learn. And I'm excited that I get to be your guide, that I get to be your coach today. Thanks for being here. And I just ask you to please be open to learning, to please to just be here, have an open mind, absorb it, be curious, and all those wonderful resources that allow you to be fully present. And you can do your cleaning while you're doing it. Perhaps you're having dinner right now or you're playing a game on the side. I don't care. The important thing is you are offering yourself to this information, which is absolutely wonderful. And the pieces that are important to you will stay. Okay, so that is my intent for you guys. And I also would like for you to think about what is my intent of being here today. So when I'm thinking about why would I attend a seminar like this and give myself to this information about change. So is there something perhaps in my life right now that is a big dramatic change, or is there something coming that might require a change in my life, or is there something that I know is going to change in the future that I'm really worried about, even so it might be down the road? And so just think about how change lives within you and the kind of relationship you would like to have with change. So formulate your intent around that. I want to be here tonight to have an exploration for myself with change and see how I can bring more joy into change, for example. Or I want to let go of my fear of change. Some people are just plain old scared. Every time anything comes around that has to do with change, they go into the and fright mode and don't know how to handle it. So that might be your issue, for example, or just a trepidation or not wanting to give up the old. That's a tough one. I admit I have that one, the grieving process of how it used to be, and I want it to be that way. I don't want it to change. So give yourself that right now as you're reminiscing a little bit. What is going to be the most useful to you tonight? So think about that right now. What is my intent for being here with Christian and the others? And what do I want to get out of this time that I'm investing here? All right. Give yourself a moment. While we're at it, make sure you have a beverage. When we do a lot of thinking, we change our neurology. That takes a lot of water. I'm having a beautiful chai here. I also got some water over there. So make sure that you're staying hydrated, that you're comfortable. Okay, getting some ideas what your intent is for being here this evening. Okay, excellent. So state that to yourself really quickly. I want to lose my fear of change. I want to have a better attitude about change. I'm curious to what the information is she's going to share. I'm open for some strategies. I want to really enjoy the guided meditation. Whatever it is that speaks to you. Okay. All right. Excellent. So I'm going to share my intent with you as well. So with all the changes that are in my life right now, mostly family oriented and related, because I do have aging parents who live on a different continent, and therefore I travel back and forth quite a bit. So I want to have a very relaxed attitude about that change and however it's going to present itself, because that's the big one with the change that I'm dealing with personally. The unknown, the uncertainty. There is this level of not being able to plan certain things 3-4 months ahead, because I honestly don't know which place I'm going to be at. And that is something that is disconcerting to me personally. And that is something that I'm going to personally work on today. All right. Giving you some ideas here. Cool. Excellent. So now I would like for you to simply take stock. Let's do a quick analysis about what's happening in your life right now and where you are at, depending on your age group right now, your demographics, where you're at in the stages of life. Are you more in the productive stages? Are you more in the winding down stages? Are you in the elderly stages? Are you a teenager? Wow, wherever you're at right now, just take stock really quickly and look at, what is my relationship with change? How easily do I bounce back? How easily do I embrace change? How easily do I cruise through change? See, there's always this moment of knowing that something is going to happen. You can even say, hey, that's like the call to adventure for the hero in the hero's journey. Oh, there's a change around the corner. There is a marriage. There is going to be a move. There's going to be a career change. There's going to be a relationship change in any way, shape, or form by people coming in and out of your life. There are changes at work. There are changes in your industry. There are changes in your neighborhood. There are changes in your town. There are changes in your country. And there are changes in the world. What is your general attitude? What's your vibe when it comes to change? And if you were to put that into a short phrase, I deal with change easily. If I were to ask you, take a survey right now, 1 to 10, 10 high, 1 is low. How well do you do with change? How resilient are you? Do you give yourself an 8 or even a 9 or, oh my goodness, a 10? Congratulations. Or are you more hanging around the 3, 4, 5 ratio or even lower? Where you're like, yeah, ain't my thing, don't do well with it, I'm the drama queen. Whatever your story is right now, just be honest with yourself and take stock where you're at. And that's all it is. So I just gave myself a 7 to 8. And I've been dealing with this for a while. So I'm giving myself that, knowing that I have done some work and knowing that there is still work to do. So who knows? Perhaps I get a little higher than that and I go, oh my God, I was just at a 6. Who knows? So it's always where you're feeling it right now, okay? That's the important thing. So how would it be that after the time that we have together today, you would actually feel at least 1 or 2 points higher than you are right now? Wouldn't that be great? So that might even be your intent. I'm going to feel better about change than I did before this gathering. All right. So you know where you're at. This is just a quick little survey. This is just a quick little accountability piece so that you have something to measure. And now I would like for you to think of your biggest drama in changing and how you were not as resourceful as you would have liked to have been. Let's go there. Think of a couple of high points. Those might be stories that were not very laughable when they actually happened. And now they're funny anecdotes. You can look back at them and say, oh my goodness, I was so. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. So let me think of myself as well. Do I have a nice embarrassing story to tell where I was very, very resistant to change? What's a good one? Yeah, okay. Here's the good one. Ultimately, it's about the plan is going to change. That is one of the biggest things that I had to learn in my international travel as a teacher, as a corporate trainer, where ultimately, instead of getting mad at the plan changing and saying, well, the plan was XYZ, so why is it changing now? Which is kind of fruitless because there must be a reason for why the plan is changing. And if it didn't have to change, they probably wouldn't change the plan. And still, I came from this judgmental point of view of I want an explanation, what's going on here, blah, blah, blah. And because of my experiences, I had to learn to finally say, the one thing I'm going to know is the plan is going to change. And then it turned into a humorous thing. It turned into a funny thing. Something I would laugh about. Oh, here we go. See, because that's how it works. And then if the plan didn't change, wow, extra bonus. And I would not get upset for the plan to change. And because the plans did change a lot, I saved myself a lot of stress. So this is an excellent example of how I used to be very unresourceful, and I can easily go there again in my neurology and just this, I cannot believe that the plan changed again. Why does this always happen? Blah, 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 blah. We have this whole dialogue. We have this whole list of arguments in our brain in that moment. I can't believe this is happening. Ta ta ta. So, what are some of those points in your own life where you like, I just have a tough time with it? Does it have to do with locations or certain people, perhaps, or certain behaviors that you have that if they fall away, oh, you get really irritated or anxious? Do you have routines? See, we're not all wired the same way. I'm just going to give you a tiny tidbit of information here. We all have different programming and wiring when it comes to how easily we deal with change. Some people are very, very comfortable with 2 to 3 year change cycles. Some people have it 7 to 10 years. Some people have 30, 40, or even 50 years. My parents are an excellent example of that. People who have lived in the same house for a very long time. People who kept the same kind of career for a very long time, who did the same behaviors, who belonged to clubs that they went to for decades, the same day of the week for decades. Those are people who are very, very comfortable with things staying the same way. Versus other people, and I consider myself in that category as well, I'm between 1.5 and 3 years. I can now look at across my life and see that between 1.5 and 3 years, I regularly had dramatic change where things just completely started anew again, or some new opportunity, some twist, some new chapter, some new way of doing things would come into my life, which then would be very satisfying. So it was a very, very big deal when I learned about this idea that we are not all wired the same way and that some people have more change in their life than others, and that we are actually wired to embrace that change easier than others. So when people are more on the stability end of the spectrum, then you want to create the circumstances that they have good stability because that's what works for them. When you have people who are high change agents, then you want to create the circumstances that keep things very exciting for them and that you are going to stimulate over and over again that this person doesn't feel that they are stuck and they don't have enough change in their life. So that's something that I had to negotiate for myself, being a high change agent. That's why traveling is exciting to me. That's why moving around is exciting to me. That's why different customers and different nationalities and the different cultures that come with that, all of that stuff naturally stimulates the change agent in me. So think about where you are on that spectrum. Are you the person who has lived in the same house for a very long time? Have you maintained the same career over a very long time? Or have you been the person bouncing around from job to job? Or even in the same career where you are the kind of person who every few years likes to be with a new company? How are you in relationships? We even there have our weird seasons, and there are numbers attached to cycles that we have. How interesting how every 5 years I seem to be getting into this slump. Or wow, the 3 marriages that I had all lasted around 10 years. So those are the kind of questions that you need to ask yourself as well. So that's all just for you to explore. Where am I at? How do I process reality? How do I process change? How easy do I make it on myself, or how hard? All right. So we've just been taking stock up till now. And again, I had asked you about some of your big dramatic examples, the drama queen examples of change. Oh, I can't stand when this and that happens, or when I have to change that. One of the things that I've, for example, realized, and that's a much smaller thing than the other one that I mentioned earlier, is, for example, anything that has to do with paperwork, anything that has to do with, how do you call it, authorities, or where you have to do some kind of banking or legal, all that kind of stuff, anything where you have to get onto the computer and get into some account and then do stuff. Yeah. So that's another one I can work on, to just be cool when that happens. I'm like, hey, no big deal. I can do this. Okay, how does this work? I'm going to figure this out. Yeah, this is easy. This is fun. That's what I want. That's another intent I have for today. So I got my big, big, big intent. How do I deal with this big, mega life change with living essentially on 2 continents? And then on the more behavioral level, like, hey, anytime I have to do with some kind of paperwork, I just want to be totally cool about it and not make a big fuss about it. So those are my 2 examples that I'm having. Big one, small one. Are you getting some ideas, my friends? This is all what this is about. I want you to really tap into it. I want you to immerse yourself and really give yourself this 1 hour that we're having together to focus on this very specific subject. And trust me, it's going to make all the difference in the world for you when you now encounter change in your life. Doesn't matter if it's the big earth-shattering change or the little minute details of life. Okay? Right on. So, we have much more of an idea where we're at. We have some more information about change. And now I would like for you to think about simply the possibility and the opportunity of, who would I like to become? How do I see myself in the future? What kind of person do I want to be when it comes to resilience? When it comes to my flexibility, my adaptability, my level of transformation, that I'm simply going to cruise through change easily with joy and effectively. Because you know that the path you're choosing through your change journey is absolutely going to be related to the results that you're able to create. A kicking and screaming journey is going to have different outcomes because you are now going on different timeline. Every decision that you're making, every thought that you're having, every feeling that you're creating, every action that you're taking is going to change your trajectory. Isn't that incredible? And that's the stuff that I love so much about NLP. We talk about timelines a lot. We talk about those alternate timelines of, like, wow, if I would have made the decision differently, I could now be on this trajectory. And that's what you can proactively create for yourself. And the opportunity that the universe is presenting you today with is to do that in regards to change. So think about the kind of person you want to be when you are in your higher self, when you are in your evolved self, in your mature self, and the story that ultimately you're telling other people when it comes to your relationship with change. I'm the kind of person who deals with change easily. Oh, I have so much change in my life all the time. Oh my God, we're so wacky. Things are changing in our life all the time. It's not a big deal. We're just so cool with it, totally. Is that the story you want to tell? Or, ugh, change is not a big deal. You know, I have some really good strategies with it. I consider myself a very resilient person. Imagine being able to tell that to others. You don't want your story to be, yeah, I have a really tough time with change and I'm just kicking and screaming every time that something happens in my life, and then I bunker up and I go into my unresourceful place, and it's really dramatic. Change is very dramatic in my life. Yeah. Is that the story you want to tell? You get to create the story that you want to tell. And it does not matter how far removed you are from that story right now, how unresourceful you consider yourself. Of all the people watching this, some of you got it made. You're a change agent, you're digging it, you're loving it. You're like, bring it on, baby, bring it on, the more the better. And then there are some people who are like, oh, I just get anxious just thinking about it, that something is going to change in my life, that I have to face that and deal with it. And I'm getting the butterflies, and I'm just getting sweaty hands and all anxious. You're somewhere on the spectrum. And wherever you're at, remember the number that you gave yourself earlier, the score, we can enhance that right now. So the first thought is, what do you want? Where do you want to go? You need to have a target in mind. You need to have an outcome, a destination. So let's start with our destination right now. And I would like for you in your mind to create that new story. So let's take a second. Just do that in your own mind, as I'm also going to give you some examples to help you spark your thoughts. I'm the kind of person who easily deals with change. Change is no big deal. Oh, I have change all the time. I used to have a tough time with change, then I learned some really cool strategies. Change is easy for me. I love change. I thrive on change. I don't think about it like change, it's more like a transformation. Or, yeah, it's not so much change, it's more like I'm opening a new chapter of my life. I mean, just imagine having those thoughts be your natural go to. This is your default programming. Change is easy, change is fun. I can do this. All right. You deserve that story. You know that? Yes, you do. Because it's a beautiful story, and you get to weave that thread. You get to create that map, how you want to develop that story. We're starting with the destination in mind. There has to be a general, this is what I'm going towards to. And even if that general is very undefined, very vague, I just want to feel good. You've heard me talk about that before. You can set your goals very, very specific. You can set your goals very generalized. And you can simply send out the vibe of, I want to feel good, which is more like a goal-less, a plan-less plan. And you're still sending out the vibe of what it is you want. You still have a focus. Because even I just want to feel good is a focus. So however you're doing it, give yourself credit. The important thing is that you are doing it. And it doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you're doing it, okay? That's what's important here. So, with the assumption that you are doing it and that you do want to get better in your relationship with change, by having that vision of yourself, of how you want to be, and I really want you to make it a vision. I want you to get a visual representation of yourself. See yourself here, a couple of feet in front of yourself. Imagine sitting there with yourself. There's an apparition of yourself, or you're showing up as an angel for yourself, or your future self, however you want to see it right now. And you're just looking at yourself and they're smiling back at you. You're like, hey, right on. You're my future me. You're my smarter me, my higher me, my more mature me, the one who's got it figured out. The visual sense is very important for you to activate, and that's that NLP stuff again that's so powerful. You want to really activate your five senses, and that's exactly what we're doing here right now. So by drawing that picture, by creating that movie in your mind, you're activating neurology in your brain, and you're creating a pathway for that information to flow in the future. The more you're doing it, the better you get at it. That's why people believe in meditation. That's why meditation works. That's why guided visualization works. That's why affirmations work. Affirmations are the auditory part. And for a lot of us, we also see the information when we hear the words, all is well, or I'm dealing with change easily. I'm great with change. I see myself going, yay, for example. So you want to make sure that you're honoring that visual component of your thinking. You want to make pictures in your mind. You want to make movies in your mind. So you're creating that you who's doing great with change visually. See yourself. Then you're going to add the soundtrack and you're going to add the auditory, which in our case comes with positive affirmations. Change is easy. I can do this. I'm made to do this. I'm doing this very easily. I'm having fun doing this. And those are then the words, that internal dialogue that's cruising around in your mind instead of the old stuff that you say to yourself. So give yourself that as well. Put in the soundtrack, put in the auditory track for this is what I'm saying to myself. This is how I'm speaking to the world about change. Okay? Might be useful to take some notes and write it down. This is the kind of stuff that you can now put on your wall as a reminder. Little affirmations then congeal, and all of a sudden you get this one sentence that you like to say. One of the sentences that we love to say as a family is, "It always turns out better than expected." And that is an awesome saying. We adopted that between 5 and 10 years ago, somewhen. It was said during trips, during restaurant visits. Perhaps it was something that we were doing together as a family where someone said all of a sudden, "Hey, and it's going to turn out even better than we expected." And that became a thing. That became one of those quotes that we use very often. And we laugh about it, and there's always this, yeah, high five attitude about, and it's going to be even better than expected. Yeah. So that's one of those sayings, those quotes, those little things that you're very quickly using, those statements that you're not even thinking about that come out of your mouth. Those are your deeper beliefs. That's the stuff that you need to pay attention to, because that's what runs the show. That's your subconscious mind arranging everything around you with your feelings, your thoughts, and your behaviors so that you get the experience that you believe in. I know that sounds crazy. We always create the results that are feasible for us, that we can imagine. And if you do not have that in your specific filter of how you see reality, it cannot become part of your reality. If you believe that people are inherently bad, then you will look at reality and you will see a lot of people behaving badly. See, I'm right. I said people are bad. Versus when you change that belief to people are inherently good. You're changing your filter, you're changing your setting, and in that moment you will see more good people and the bad people will start falling away. That's how it works. And you need to test it out yourself. This is something that I highly, highly encourage you to put up your own thesis and then start testing it. Do your own experiments. I'm doing so many fun experiments all the time. I'm like, I just want to know how this works out. What happens in my life when I come from the presupposition that the law of attraction is truly real and that we can create our reality by having a clear vision, by believing in it, by doing the thoughts, the feelings, and the actions that are appropriate with it, and keep working diligently towards it to see what happens. And then I give myself a month, or 3 months, or half a year, or a year, or a decade. I'm now working on a 10-year project that I'm 55 years old, and I have some very specific goals that I want to have fulfilled when I'm 65 years old, and I have some flip charts that I'm looking at right now that have it on there, and some of them are more metaphorical, where I'm just putting pictures. Some of them are very clear goals that I have defined for myself. Some of them are measurable, some of them are vague. The important thing is I'm constantly feeding my mind this information. There's constantly this focus, there's constantly this attention going, oh yeah, that's right. This is what I'm doing over the next 10 years. And your auditory is super important because it's that story that you're telling yourself. It's the story that you're telling others. And it's what you're exposing yourself to. Have you ever noticed that when you're watching a specific movie or you're binging on a series and there is this certain soundtrack and all of a sudden you're waking up in the morning and you're whistling the song to yourself from the soundtrack? Or there is a song, for example, I make jokes about Dancing Queen from ABBA, which I love so much. And even just talking about it this evening in the seminar, I know I'm going to have a moment tomorrow where all of a sudden Dancing Queen is in my head and I'm going, oh my goodness, it's still in my mind. So the things that we expose ourselves to constantly are going to have a major effect. That's why listening to positive affirmations and listening to positive self-help books and watching positive videos, things that are encouraging your mind to grow and to transform easily, to open up to new information, is very, very useful. And that's why a lot of us are saying, I'm going to keep my exposure to the news at a minimum. I want to know what's going on. I'm not inundating myself with it, so I'm not dragging myself down and my thinking. So you are in charge of your thinking. Your thinking can change instantly just by you making a decision. And you have to ask yourself, if you're really hooked on, no, I can't change my thinking, and that's just the way it is, and I'm stuck with those thoughts, I can't get rid of them, blah, blah, blah. You need to think deeper, and you need to ask yourself, why am I doing this to myself? What is my positive intention for having such negative internal dialogue, for dragging myself down with my thoughts, for promoting anxiety thoughts, for doing spiral downward and all that kind of stuff? So that might be a deeper work that you need to do with yourself if you are stuck with patterns of negative thinking. Because there is a positive purpose of why you're doing it. You're protecting yourself in some way, you're trying to help yourself in some way. So it's not all bad, not all hope is lost. Even there, you can change it, and simply starting it with the decision to doing it is what is the first step that you need to take. I want to change this. I want to have a better internal dialogue with myself. I want to catch myself when I have anxiety thoughts, when I'm doing the downward spiral, so I can catch myself and bring it up again, those kind of things, okay? So the auditory is very, very important. And then, of course, the third one is our kinesthetic, touching, feeling. How does your body feel? How do you hold your shoulders? Do you have a smile on your face? You will immediately change your hormonal household by putting a smile on your face. That is absolutely proven, and it is so noticeable just by putting a smile on your face, how it immediately starts changing your state. And when you are able to maintain that smile for 30 to 60 seconds, you will actually change your hormones, and you will change other patterns. You will change your thought patterns, you will change your feeling state, you will change your ability to act better. So just by putting a smile on your face, okay? So then is there the clenching of the jaw, there is the pressure in the shoulders. How loose do you hold your hands? Do you have your feet pointed inward, or are they pointed outward? Is one foot outward, one inward? What's going on there? Those are all important things. If you want to be more open in your life, open up your feet. If you need to protect your space a little, close them. Those are easy physiological things that we all know. Having your hands like this, oh, that's a close position, that person doesn't want to be criticized, whatever. You learned about it. It means something when someone does that. Or if they're putting their right leg over the left leg, if they're putting their left hip forward. So pay attention to your body sensations, and especially when it comes to change. When you're thinking about change, do you automatically clench your jaw? Do you automatically clench your hands, make a little fist? Or do you have that little uncomfortable feeling in your stomach? What happens when you think about change? And what do you want to have happen when you think about change? I want to have that feeling of elatedness where I'm just feeling pulled upward. My shoulders are relaxed. I have this big smile on my face, and I'm just going up. Yes, take me, change. I'm excited about the opportunity that you're presenting to me. So that's my kinesthetic feeling that I'm having. I'm being pulled up. I'm light. I'm very relaxed. My wrists are relaxed. My shoulders are relaxed. I got this big smile. My eyes are up. Yeah, that's what I want when I think about change. Not, dang it. Exactly. So, do your own. Okay, so we had the visual. How do you see yourself? What do you visualize? Your auditory. How do you talk to yourself? How do you talk to others? What do you let in? And also the kinesthetic aspect, the physiological aspect of how do you hold your body. And now comes the most important, of course, which is part of the kinesthetic, which is your breathing. course, I always talk about breathing. So, deep belly breath. Preferably through your nose. You get a lot more oxygen to your brain when you breathe through your nose than when you breathe through your mouth. So breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your mouth is the healthiest way of breathing over long periods of time. If you can maintain that, that is a very powerful and healthy way of breathing. Nice long breath in. Perhaps a little tiny hold at the top and then out. And another tiny pause before you breathe in again. And I will literally do that at night when I fall asleep, and I've managed to come from having terrible insomnia to being someone who easily sleeps between 6 and 8 hours a night nowadays through breathing techniques, for example, through specific visualizations that I'm doing that have helped me to calm my mind in a way that I can now most of the time easily drift off into sleep within 1 to 2 minutes. And breathing is a major part of that. Just breathing in 4, hold 1, 2, breathing out 4 counts, hold for a couple, breathing in. I like to adjust it to music. I have very specific music that I'm listening to that has very specific counts of beats that make it easy for me to have a nice deep breathing pattern. The deeper you breathe, the healthier you are, okay? So make sure that you're also visualizing yourself and that you're practicing taking some very nice deep breaths while you're thinking about change, how much fun it is, how easy it is, how much you're looking forward to it, how useful it is to your life's path, and so on and so on. So just give yourself that right now. Nice. See, the funny thing is, your whole life has been changed from that first breath that you took until right now, this very minute. You have done nothing but change. You're constantly shedding cells. You're creating new cells. Your organs are completely changing. In 2 to 7 years, every single part of your body will have completely renewed itself. Did you know that? So there is nothing but change in your life. And I would like for you to right now pinpoint a couple of the greatest changes that you've ever made. Changes that you fully open-eyed walked into going, yes, this is a huge change, or this is a small change, or this is a powerful change, or this is a meaningful change, whatever your specific qualification of it is. The important thing is you went into it with open eyes, you were excited about it, you had positive expectations about it, you had your resources available to you, you had support. Think of some of those right now. So you might go back in time. For some of you, you might go back to your teenage time and think about where were some really big changes in my life. And I felt totally supported. It was awesome. I made the most of it. It was effective. I was at my best self in this journey through that transformation. I would like for you to think of at least 3 of them, okay? Come on, let's do that. Let's give ourselves a minute and think about that right now. Okay, I got 2. Got some? All right. One more. I did 2 big ones. I want a little one. Change. Okay, got it. Got it? Got some too? Okay, first one, meditation. For a long time, I was like, I don't have time. I don't know how to do it. I can't quiet my mind and whatever. And until someone said to me finally, you can meditate any way you want to. As long as you're focusing your mind on something, it doesn't matter if you're doing or you're listening to some kind of a music, or you're just repeating a mantra, or you're actually creatively visualizing, it's meditation. As long as you are actually focusing your intent and you're feeling better afterwards. I'm like, oh, that's how easy that is. Cool. I'm going to meditate. So that was a change I made in my life where I knew I should be meditating up till about 40 years old. It was always that big, oh, I know I should be meditating. I would be doing much better if I just meditated, but I don't have time. I don't know how to do it. La, la, la. Had my excuses. And then it was around 42 years old, I started meditating, and it's been a lifesaver. And it's one of the things I absolutely love and adore. And I do multiple times a day because of that definition. So that is one of those where I'm like, oh yeah, I went into it. Once I made the decision that it's easy, that I can do it, I'm doing it right because I'm doing it my way. That was important. And therefore, I can do this and I can be successful at it. And that's when it became really fun. So that's one of them. Of course, my other favorite example is moving to America. Full on major, mind blowing, life changing change on a major epic proportion to move across the world to a different continent at 24 years old. And I did it open eyed, I did it with full consciousness, and I'm still 30 years later super stoked that I did it. And I thank God every day that I did it. So that was another one of those changes that I very obviously embraced and made the most of. The other one that just came to my mind was motherhood. I was very ready because I was in my mid 30s by the time it happened, and we had goals that we fulfilled for ourselves, our freedom bug. We got to live it all out. And so by the time that the first pregnancy showed up, it was a total, oh yeah, I'm ready for it. Let's bring it on. Let's have fun with this. Let's totally make the most of it. And let's totally embrace parenthood, motherhood. It was awesome. So those are my three examples of the things that I'm thinking about that very quickly come to my mind where change was easy and fun to embrace, and I didn't have to struggle through it in a big way of I don't want this to happen and why did I do this and things like that. Okay, so you're getting some good examples yourself. And even if you don't have three examples right now, I know they're there. I know you've done it. I know you have. Even if you can't give yourself credit right now, and that might be that little voice of anxiety that you have where you're not giving yourself credit enough for what you have achieved, okay? So, more examples will bubble up for you. And I'm looking very much forward for you to have that happen because it's beautiful. Did you see my smile? Did you hear my voice tone as I was explaining those examples to you? Because that's exactly what I just did. I told you the story of those examples, and that's what I want for you as well. To be able to sit there and tell someone else, oh yeah, there's this change that I had, and it was blah, 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 blah. And then there was this change, and it was so easy, and I was looking forward to it and all that. Yeah. Natural, authentic, that it comes across, oh yeah, that's just how it is. That's when you know you're dealing with a belief. Well, that's just the way it is. That's how it's always been, that's how it always will be. Those are our beliefs. And that's what you want to cultivate in a way that it is useful to you, especially when it comes to change, which is our topic today, right? Next time, we're going to talk about something else again. So tonight, it's about change and how your relationship is truly your choice, how you want that change to live within you. All right. I know I didn't touch on the gustatory and olfactory, and what that means is tasting and smelling, because you can even give yourself a beautiful smell, an aroma, when you're thinking about change. What would be the most wonderful aroma when thinking of change? For some reason, the word frankincense just came to my mind. I do a lot with frankincense. So that is another one of those where I can now imagine smelling some frankincense. I have an incense on, or I'm using one of my essential oils, and there is this wonderful aroma of frankincense, and I'm going, yeah, change is easy, change is good. I'm in charge of my change. The change is going to be as good as I make it, and it always gets better than expected. It always turns out better than expected. And then I can imagine toasting with a sparkling wine or some nice sparkling water, or I'm enjoying my beautiful chai tea, which I specifically made for myself for this evening. I'm like, it's a nice cold day. I'm going to have myself a nice warm beverage. So I love that creaminess of the chai. I love the spiciness. There's a little bit of garam masala in there. So those are the taste buds that I'm activating with that. So now, literally, the brain is making a connection between chai tea and change. So that's how anchors work. And that's why it's so important. And that's why aromatherapy, for example, works. Because we're creating anchors within ourselves. We're matching states with outside stimuli. And I will talk about that more in other seminars as well, because that's a whole other subject that we can get much deeper into. So just take this as a side note, okay? So it is about creating the you that has a great time dealing with change. And so what we did is we did our 5 senses, and we're also thinking of times when you did it. Because guess what? And you've heard me say it before, if you've been following me for a while, the brain doesn't know the difference between that which you imagine, that which you have experienced in the past as a memory, something that you're wildly making up right now. The brain doesn't know the difference. To the brain, the second you're having the thought, it's real, and it's going to respond appropriately. It's going to respond accordingly. Whatever life experiences you have had creates a filter in your mind about the level of information that you're able to let in. And if you have, I want to use that same example again, a belief that humanity is bad, that people are bad, then you will automatically sort for badness out there. And when you believe that humanity is good, that people are inherently good, and that we're just confused and make bad choices because of misinformation, then that is the information that you will sort for. And this is just the tiniest example of millions of examples that we're dealing with in this lifetime, because you're constantly having to sort reality information as it comes in from all different levels, in all different levels, with the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. You're constantly smelling something. There's constantly a taste on your tongue. You're constantly seeing things. You're constantly hearing things. You're constantly feeling things with your body. And all that information has to come in, get sorted, and then it gets put into a filing system. And then when you need it again, you're going to pull it out. If you had bad experiences with big dogs when you were a little child, and now you're walking on the sidewalk and there's a person coming with a big dog, you will go to all that information that you have so detailed, oriented, sorted over your lifetime, that then in that moment comes out, and you're making those quick split-second decisions about, is it safe? Am I going to be all smiley about it? Am I going to be intimidated? Am I going to be trepid about it? Am I going to raise my heart rate? All of that stuff takes place subconsciously. You don't even think about your heart rate going up, or all of a sudden producing more saliva, or having those thoughts about, now I'm getting really anxious and I don't know why, or I'm feeling the need to go to the other side of the sidewalk, or things like that. Or is it a, oh, look at who's the puppy, hey, I want to say hi, can I pet him please? Right? It is totally up to you and the life experiences that you had until now that then determine, am I going to be cool with the dog or not? So I hope that helps you to determine how that works for you, because you have that for every single thing that you're encountering in this life. I'm going to use my own example again when it comes to paperwork. There are certain programs that I've given myself over time when it comes to paperwork that I find displeasing. I took care of 2 things today, by the way. I made Sean my accountability partner. I said, Sean, there are those 2 things that I need to take care of. And would you please hold me accountable that I'm doing it? I've been pushing it out for a couple of weeks. I admit it. And I really want to take care of it. And I did. And I'm so proud of myself because I did it and it's done. So I can move on now. Now I don't have to use any more brain space thinking about those specific tasks. And the brain doesn't know the difference. That's what started this whole discussion here, you guys. So you imagining doing it, you imagining yourself in the past, having a memory of you being super resilient, of you dealing with change very resourcefully, is activating your brain right here, right now, in this very minute, and giving you that same state, that same emotional state of happy anticipation, fulfillment, I can do it attitude, look at me, wow, I made it so easy on myself, I'm cruising through this, all of those wonderful memories that you have associated with that very specific change. And you get to feel it right here, right now. It's pretty cool, I tell you. The brain doesn't know the difference between you making it up, imagining it, or having experienced it already, or experiencing it right now. So please take that with you today as one of your learnings. The brain cannot discern the difference between those 3. Is it a memory? Is it something that you're experiencing right now? Or is it something that you're just plainly making up? It does know the difference. It is acting as if it's real right now, always. And therefore, you need to know that so that you can use that information appropriately and not run yourself ragged with anxiety thoughts and coming up with negative scenarios about what if this and that happens, and oh my god, this is in the future in 3 days, and this is in the future in a year, and this is in the future in 25 years, and I'm already worried about it. Well, guess what? You are now giving your body worry thoughts. So we want to do the opposite of that. We want to catch ourselves when we do the worry thoughts. Oh, I'm not good with change. Oh, I hate change. Oh, I'm terrible with change. And all those thoughts, because in that moment, your body has to have a response to that, a physiological response to you having those thoughts. Make sense? Okay? So that's what we want to change. Funny. Didn't do it on purpose. No pun intended. That is what we are transforming right here, right now, is that attitude about, oh, it's so hard, because we are not serving ourselves, we're not serving anybody else, we're literally dragging ourselves down emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. So by thinking of examples in your life when you are digging it, when you are cruising through change easily with joy, that's what you're now feeding your mind. That is what you're now feeding your physiology. Those are now the thoughts that you're activating. Those are now the feelings that you're manifesting. And that relaxed body posture, that knowingness that everything is going to work out, that cool attitude. Of course, change is easy. I do it all the time. Right? Yeah. So you have total influence over that. And the next time that something happens, let's do that right now, called the future pace. Imagine that right now, that something is going to come your way where you're being tasked, you're being opportuned, you're being challenged to change in some way. Changing your thinking, changing a belief, changing a behavior, changing an attitude, changing a physical location, changing something about your body, changing something about your mind, changing something in your career, in your relationships, in your lifestyle. So let's just imagine that something comes your way, and it's something that you didn't expect. Out of the blue. You're like, oh, didn't see that coming. And it might be not the most pleasant thing that you would have preferred to have. And now I would like for you to simply imagine yourself again in your higher self, dealing with change easily. You're seeing yourself with your relaxed body posture. You're making that movie where you are gesturing, you're smiling, where you're having the auditory part of it that says, it's easy. I don't have to worry about it. It's going to work out. It's going to work out better than expected. Even so, I didn't see it coming. It's going to work out better than expected. I know it was meant to happen. I know there is a reason that this is happening right now, that this change is coming my way. Thank you, change. Thank you, universe, for this change. So imagine being able to do that, that you're seeing yourself, you're hearing yourself, and then feel it in your body, feel that relaxation. Remember, mine was, I'm being drawn to it, I'm being propelled. Yeah, I can feel it. There's this ta-ta, stepping up to the plate, ready to dive off that dive board, ready to take that quantum leap. Yay! There's such wonderful language around change that you can integrate more. Then you remember all those other times that you have changed easily, joyfully, gracefully. And you can say to yourself, I'm going to handle it. I'm going to handle it. It's going to be okay. It's going to be great. It's going to come out better than expected. I'm going to look back and saying, wow, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Right on. Okay? Practice makes the master. The more you practice seeing yourself resilient, able to change, dealing with change easily, the more you're practicing the words in your mind, the affirmations, the positive towards to language about change, the more you're learning to mold your body putting that smile on your face, relaxing that jaw, relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your wrists. One of the most powerful things I learned about walking is to have my upper body float on my hips. I love that. So those are the things that I've cultivated over time. My upper body is just naturally floating on my hips. My legs are relaxed, my feet are firmly grounded. My shoulders are nice and relaxed and flowing. My gestures are flowing. So those are all kinesthetic descriptions. Those are all descriptions of physiology. And physiology is so, so, so important. And what is the most important part of physiology? Remember? Breathing. So let's do that again. Imagining that change. And you're able to just breathe deeply. That's why we're saying breathe through it. Take a few deep breaths. There is a reason we're using this as a resource. So make sure that you give yourself that as a natural response when you think of change, something that you might have to deal with, that you go on, yeah, it's all going to work out perfectly. I'm going to cruise through this. No big deal. I'm going to look back on it. I'm going to be, that worked out perfectly. Most wonderful, effective change possible. And I did it. Yay, I'm proud of myself. So give yourself that. All right. Good work, everybody. So for you to know that I do have a seminar this weekend. It's a Law of Attraction Mastermind class. And I'm very, very excited because I have been part of masterminds for many, many years. I'm currently also part of a mastermind group. And every Monday morning we gather, we share our experience of the last week. Then we share our goals for this week and hold each other accountable with our outcomes. And that to me is a very powerful resource in my life. And I'm wanting to make that more available to other people as well. I have led mastermind groups in person in the past, and now I'm also ready to do more online. So I'm very excited about the first upcoming one on Saturday. If you want more information, please send me a message. The other thing is I am so excited about coaching. And with the technology that we now have available, of course, I can do it all over the world. And I'm looking very much forward to get your message and get your questions about how I can be of service to you. So I definitely want to make sure that you guys know that I am writing a book currently that is going to come out in March. So I just hold myself accountable by saying those words. I'm very excited. I'm in the middle of the process, looking at some flip charts here as well as my journals on the floor and all the files I have in my computer. I've been having so, so much fun with this material. Of course, it's going to be about the law of attraction and how we can change and grow and transform more easily. So I'm very excited about that, and I'm going to definitely let you guys know more about it. And most importantly, I'm doing these seminars once a week, at least for the next 2 months that I'm committed to. And even with my international traveling, I'm going to do my very, very best to keep it at the same time for you guys to be able to check in and knowing that I'm there for you, okay? All right, my dear friends, it is getting time for us to say goodbye for now, knowing that we're going to see each other again next week for our free seminar series and the possibility for you to be in my mastermind class this weekend. Definitely go to my YouTube channel, Quantum NLP, check out what I have to offer there. More than 200 videos that are publicly listed, another 100 videos that I have unlisted that are there for my students who are diving deeper. The other thing is you definitely want to find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm on many platforms. You can connect with me there. I have a couple of groups there. There is a Law of Attraction group. I like to share inspirational quotes as well as sharing my own journey with the Law of Attraction. And I would love to welcome you there, okay? So to wrap up, what we learned today is you are in charge of your level of how you process change in your life. You're not screwed, you're not stuck with the way that it currently is. And if it is not pleasing to you the way it currently is, you can change it. And I give you some very specific ways in how you can start that process. Do not take lightly the resources that I just shared with you. The resource of visualizing yourself, talking to yourself about it, learning affirmations, writing down affirmations, paying attention to your physiology and starting to mold your physiology to more of a happy, resourceful physiology than a depressed, unresourceful physiology. Start paying attention to your breathing patterns. Surround yourself with aromas that naturally enhance your vibration. Eat the kind of foods that help you to enhance your vibration, the things that make you go, ah, I love this. This is nourishing me. This feels good. I know this is good for me. And also, then think of times when you had the resources that you needed right now and in the future. Remember, your brain cannot discern the difference between something that you're imagining, something that you're experiencing right now, or something that you experienced in the past, and use that proactively to your advantage. So, my friends, that's a lot of resources for you to practice for right now. And I would like for you to have that easily available with any kind of change that you're making in your life right now. So perhaps you want to take the opportunity and make a commitment to yourself and pick one of those things that you have been thinking about wanting to change for a while and you haven't just been able to do it. Perhaps this might be your encouragement to actually do it. And I would love to see that be the result that you get out of being here today with me. Thank you so, so very much for your time, for your attention, for your energy, for your willingness to learn, for your willingness to explore. I love sharing this time with you, and you're totally making my day. So thanks for being here. Have fun learning, and remember, practice makes a master. So I wish you a lovely journey to mastery, and I'm going to see you soon again. Bye. See you later.